everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka... And we are back with another Twitter thread. Today we're talking about hyped cards. Every single time the format changes in some capacity, either by virtue of a new ban list or a set release, people always seem to hype up like the same 15 terrible ass corner case hand traps and answers. Today I'm going to ask you, what clearly bad cards do people always claim have finally found their format? And I'm going to begin with no material. If your opponent special summons a monster while you control no cards, discard this card, then target a face-up monster your opponent controls. This turn, that monster cannot be tributed or used as material for a fusion, synchro, exease, or link summon. It's kind of a hand trap, but... Oh, Rebby with a perfect one. How many times have you seen Typhoon unironically registered in lists? I think there's maybe an argument there were 1 or 2 pendulum formats where this card was playable, but I constantly see people being like, no, wait, when they set a guy in the back row, you can use this to pop the snake eye. Okay, and? Another classic example. Oh man, the Sky Striker cards have to be in the EMZ, but Watt Kinetic Puppeteer can move it to an MMZ! Crook with a perfect one. Sprite, time to clean the filter. Pearly, time to clean the filter. Snake Eye, time to clean the filter. Yubel, time to clean the filter. There's always someone who's convinced this card's time is right now, and it is right now, but only during round 3 of locals. This is a floodgate that I hope people never like figure out, but it's always expected to be really good really early. Same vein as like Power Sync Stone. Caleb says Crossout was this for a while, and then it did arguably find its format. I would agree. People always try Crossout first week and then usually drop it until a couple of very specific formats, at which point it has now just sort of become a mainstay of competitive play. But the real answer is unquestionably Engraver of the Mark. How many YouTube videos have you seen where people are like, you have to buy this card before it goes up. It's going to be broken against X terrible ass card. Ava says, I don't think a good people worth their salt have thought Miradora would be good for a format, but plenty of people who ain't have. I'm rooting for him because he's neat. This card was a secret printing at time of release, commanded a really expensive price tag for how clearly bad the card is. If you're unfamiliar with this, it's like Effect Veiler and gets you a body, except it's not Effect Veiler in any of the ways that matter. Still, sometimes I read it and I go, any day now, man. Trevor says, do entire decks count? So this was not the case recently, but in the past, almost every single format, post-release of Fusion Enforcers, the first weekend, the metagame would be dominated by exactly this deck. Finally, it's time for Alistair. It was never time for Alistair. No, you don't get it. It's this format where Phantom Knights will be tier 0. Phantom Knights were the invoked of like 2018, 19, 20, and 21. Guys, you don't get it. It's better than D-Barrier. It can't be searched. It's actively slower. It's useless going second. It's a brick. It doesn't take into account anything summoned after its activation. Oh man, how many times have I heard Spellbound? Now is the time for Spellbound. It seems like a card that would have a use case until you sit down and think about it and recognize there's just 100 other cards that fulfill its exact condition better, and it's a quick play. So like a lot of trap cards compete for the same slot. It's rough. Listen, it's like Abyss Dweller, but worse. You know who was saying this? One Peeps Yugioh. I get it. During tier format, it's like you have to play a card like this because otherwise you'll get run over by a Havness and all of her friends, but like, no, this card is not particularly good. No. I am gonna hear this person out. At the start of every format, you hear everybody go, we're moving into a Droll format for 2 weeks, then everyone gets the new deck's lines labbed out, and they all play under Droll given certain conditions, and every single time for the last 3 years, it has ended up at okay at best at most. Correct. One of the early must-play hand traps that slowly gets shaved from every list as the format develops and people learn how to play around it. But notably, there was a point where this was a mandatory inclusion, and it was the 2 weeks where Super Heavy Samurai was legal. I don't know about Titanocider. I think the hype for this one didn't last past people finishing reading the card. Yeah. Yes, absolutely correct. Thankfully, it doesn't see much discussion anymore, but for a long time, everyone was sure, and the band played on, which is neither player can special monsters with the same level of a monster they control control, and Mischief of the Yokai, which modulates the levels that are on the field and then can be banished to modulate one specific monster on the field as well. Theoretically have applications against Xyz's decks, but they are really few and far between. Ryzeal tech, watch. People are going to hype this as the Ryzeal answer. With so many powerful decks with eventual mirror matches, Reaper just feels like it could be used more. Hitting Fiendsmith prior to combo or powerful extra deck staples. Shame the other Ghost Girls see more play. This card is cheeks. So often people are like, oh, there's a commonly played extra deck card. I have to play Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries to rip it. Turns out, if you let someone uninterrupted do 99% of their combo instead of 100, they're still winning. The formats where this were good were like formats where people had to get to an extra deck playmaker they were playing 3 copies of. But that's just not how things work anymore. Remember when links were announced and people, oh no! Yeah, I remember this. Oh, when links first came out, people were like buying out the most garbage ass cards because they thought the arrows were gonna really matter. Sentence Switch was like a $7 common. Who remembers the Ground Collapse buyout? Oh my. This will be the format for them for sure. True. Oh god, it gets Ryzeal too. No, come on, no! It's gonna happen. I promise it's going to happen, dude. I promise it's going to happen. It's one day soon. Made to order mermaid outfitter will be playable. Target a card in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, add a card from your deck to your hand with the same name as that banished card. It's so good. Take their Ash. In the mirror match, take their starter. Oh. This constantly rotates with the Yokai girls that aren't Ash. There's always one of these, Bell, Ogre, or Reaper, that people speculate is good in the format, but ends up being worse than a different hand trap or like a Bestial or a board breaker. Okay, I will push back on Ghost Bell specifically. I think there's a number of formats, especially where Labyrinth is playable, where this card is really good, even out of the side deck. It's a great card. It does not fit with the others. 100% correct with these other two. Ghost Ogre seems to have currently found a format where it's okay, but Ghost Ogre is the #1 card that people play week 1 and then slowly take out of lists. I remember when Pote came out and I was trying to get people to play this garbage. You don't understand. You can find it off Snake Eyes Ash if you already have combo. A tech card that only works going first, can't be drawn or prospeed into, is actively worse than Shifter in any deck that isn't penned. Totally gonna shit on the meta this time, guys. I remember when this card was revealed, everyone was like, finally, tier format is solved. My favorite part about this one is apply one of the following effects. They're like, you can still special from grave. Mystical Ref Panel. Anytime there is a meta relevant target for Mystical Ref Panel, everybody goes, it's time to play Mystical Ref Panel, and it never is. First, it was summoning a barrier statue against Hauk. Then it was summoning a barrier statue, but this time in VS. Who knows when we'll need to summon a barrier statue again and the price will go up for a week. This card just reads, ooh, barrier statue. And also, it is not good. If we can learn anything from these hundreds of thousands of misses, it's that Yu-Gi-Oh players aren't always the best at predicting what cards are going to be good. But when I say that, I'm not talking about you. Your tech choice is going to work out for sure. Remember when people were saying that Dogwood was finally relevant when Tenpai was meta? They don't know. Wait, come on. No, this card was good. One day we will have a format that will finally use this card. I'm going to be real with you. That day is coming. Grave's good. Grave is a good card. This card was crazy. You have no idea how good Shared Ride was. Cap Shell was played in Runic Sprite. Delta, again, people hate Delta. They hate it so much. This one's fun because they're mad about it. No. Come on. Come on. No. Come on.